In previous videos, we've talked about the fact that you can now sue the police in Wyoming. But how does that happen? This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Okay, so you've told me before, Christina, that you sometimes have clients where things happen with their investigation and then they decide they want to sue the police. So how does that work?
Well, there's three different ways you can do it. There's a federal case, which is a 1983 action. And the most common 1983 action has to do with an unlawful arrest. That is, an officer arrested a person without probable cause. That is, they didn't have enough evidence to believe the person committed the crime that they arrested them for, or they didn't have legally enough evidence to do that. The second way in Wyoming is through the Governmental Claims Act, and that allows a defendant, again, to sue the police department for being negligent. You can sue the government. But in each of those actions, there's this looming doctrine which is called governmental immunity, and it makes it really difficult for the citizen to sue the government, and that goes way back in history, all the way to the time when you had a king and you couldn't sue the king. So it's a very, very long doctrine that has a long history, and Wyoming now has changed that, and it's really exciting.
All right, so now it sounds like it used to be more difficult to sue the police. And what has changed now to make it just ever so much easier?
The Supreme Court of Wyoming was asked to decide if a private citizen can sue a police officer or a law enforcement officer for a negligent investigation. And the Supreme Court said yes.
That's great news for people who want to sue the police. What might they be wanting to sue the police about?
I get calls all the time, and it's, right out of the gate. Somebody has been arrested and charged with a crime, and they feel like their rights have been violated. They feel like the officer didn't do the job he was supposed to do. He didn't talk to all the witnesses before he decided to arrest him and ask the prosecutor to charge him. And, they come into our office really wanting help because they're charged with a crime and they need help defending themselves against that crime, and because they feel like they were treated unfairly and the officer didn't do his or her job. And a lot of times, we need to first of all focus on defending them of the criminal charge. That's the most urgent matter that we have to deal with first. And then, when we get into the case, now we can really look at, did this officer do the right thing? Did they, in fact, fail to fully investigate this case? And did they get, the wrong person? Should this case get dismissed? Or, if we go to trial, will this person, in fact, be found not guilty? And, it's going to be very exciting to see where this new doctrine, this new cause of action goes, because now when our clients come in and they feel like they've really been treated unfairly and the charges are wrong, they do have an avenue where they can go after the police officer for his investigation.
Yeah, and this would be a civil suit, so unlike a criminal case, there's nobody's guilty or not guilty. This is where they would possibly win money. And what kinds of forms does that money take?
Sure. So, they can ask for their attorney fees back. They, along with a criminal prosecution, along with that officer deciding that, that person is the one that they're going to charge, comes these graves realities for the person. A lot of times their name shows up in the newspaper and, they lose their job. Sometimes they even lose their freedom. That is, they have to go to jail and wait for the trial because they can't afford to bond themselves out, and they lose, their car and their home. And so the money damages really do stack up. And, if it's a really serious felony charge, then they're going to have large amounts of attorney fees. And so, all of that is fair game then once we determine whether or not that officer did what they were supposed to do, if they followed the standard of care of a reasonable officer.
Wow. So that does sound like it's going to involve a fair amount of attorney expertise. So if someone finds themselves in either one of those situations, or the criminal part of that situation, and they need to call an attorney, how might they get in touch with you?
Sure. We'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.